All right. So we are empiric. We're starting Eikev. Yesterday we didn't manage to start. I hope it was titled Veschanan and not Eikev when it was sent in. Like I said, Eikev. I get okay. So I'll get complaints I get complaints like, why you said it was Eikev? It should be your worst Genevas das. Okay, page 980. V'haya Eikev tishvunas hamishpati ba'ela. Art Scroll translated is, this shall be the word when you hearken. Ooh, hearken. Eikev. Eikev means, it's a hard word to translate, usually because or when you obey these mishpatim, ushmartem vasisam osam, and you will keep them and do them. V'shamar Hashem elokecha l'chas habrisas hachesed. Hashem will keep the covenant and the kindness asher nishbal avosecha. Page 980. So the first thing is Eikev, Chazal, Rashi brings down, and this is all from Chazal, Im ha-mitzvos kalos. What's the word Eikev? The word Eikev in modern Hebrew means a heel. So Rashi says, V'haya Eikev tishbon im ha-mitzvos kalos she'odam dash ba'akekev tishbon. If you are faithful and you faithfully obey and fulfill the mitzvahs, the seemingly insignificant mitzvahs that people trample with their heels, then you're going to get all these rewards. So that begs the obvious question, which is, if we keep the easy mitzvahs, the light mitzvahs, we're going to get all these rewards. So what happens to the heavy ones? Well, that we can do away with. It's obviously not. So the answer is that human nature, it's a funny thing. The difficult things, the heavy things, the important things, we all do. Those are in a certain way, those are the easiest ones to do. The more severe the mitzvah is, if you see somebody drowning, you're going to jump into the water. And say, Nick, can I trouble you just to close that door? If you see somebody drowning in the water, you're going to fulfill the mitzvah of saving a life if you're capable of jumping in, or at least you'll take a wooden beam and you'll stretch out to save him. But when it comes to Zman Kriya Shema, making sure you get the Zman Kriya Shema, making brachas properly, making, what do you call it, davening mincha before shkia. Davening mincha at all, but okay, well, assuming. I once saw a guy say, the guy's davening mincha after shkia. So a friend of his says to him, it's after shkia. So he turns to me and goes, should be my worst avera. It should be my worst avera that I daven mincha after shkia. I'll tell you, the problem with it? It sounds a nice pithy little expression. You know what the problem with it? It's not your worst avera. If it was your worst avera, then we could talk. But I don't think it's your worst avera, because it should be my worst avera. And if it is an avera, if it's after shkia, so then you've made 19 brachas levatola. So 19, instead of a mitzvah, so you've got 19 averas. It's not a joke over here. It's not a joke. People say, well, what's the difference, a minute this way and a minute this way? They just finished the Olympics. In the Olympics, it doesn't make a difference a minute this way. In the Olympics, it makes a difference 1/100th of a second this way or that way. 1/100th of a second is the difference between gold and silver. So, with all due respect or disrespect to the Olympics, in halacha, a minute this way or that way, there's shkia, there's a halacha, it's not a game. So that's why the Torah says, number one, that the light mitzvahs we should take seriously. That's why the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, have a ratzla mitzvah kala kevachamura. Should run to do a seemingly insignificant mitzvah like a more severe mitzvah. It's a famous story. The Vilna Gaon, on his deathbed, the Vilna Gaon grabbed his tzitzis and he started crying. And he said, an easy mitzvah like tzitzis, how much does tzitzis cost now to get a pair of tzitzis for 50 shekels? And an easy mitzvah like this, I'm not going to be able to fulfill where I'm going right now. He'll get reward for other things, but he cannot get more, he can't earn more, because the earning is only in this world. So the first thing Rashi says is that what he called it's the little things. You get these doctors, you get the big surgeon, golden hands, wonderful surgeon who saves the United States. He's really good at what he does, but his bedside manner is horrible. What about the patient? Okay, that's insignificant. I'd rather have nobody should need a surgeon, but better a great surgeon with a lousy bedside manner than the sweetest surgeon who cuts the wrong, takes out the wrong kidney. Obviously you want the best surgeon, but what about the little things that go with it? About calming down the patient, so on and so forth. Ironically, the heavier the mitzvah, the easier often is the muktzah on Shabbos. People think that muktzah, if you move your hand fast, if you do it fast, it's not a problem, muktzah. Or borer, flick the cucumber out of the salad. You're not allowed to. But if you do it real fast, then maybe, maybe it's okay. No, it seems insignificant. That the Torah says that people tend to trample. I told you guys once, I was on a bus. We had a bus driver. I haven't seen him in years. Thank heavens they took him off the line already. This guy was obviously unhappy being a bus driver. I didn't tell him to choose the profession. He chose it. But he was obviously unhappy. What he would do is, when people wanted to get off the back door or the back two doors, he would hit one button in the front. And he would, and people would have to say, Nahag, Nahag. You ever hear that on the button? Nahag, especially if it's with an American accent. Nahag. And they'd be, until they would start yelling, then he would remember to push the second button and the third button. And I'm thinking, and he would do it consistently. And he was clearly doing it on purpose. It was clear. And I remember thinking, it's not that difficult. Just push all three buttons. They're there. You should be able to handle this. And he did this on a regular basis. I was once on the bus. We were on, stereotypes. We're driving towards our neighborhood, and all of a sudden he stops right in the middle of the path. He stops the bus, and he opens the door, and he gets off. A little old lady had fallen on the sidewalk. And he stopped the bus, and he got off to help the little old lady up. And I remember he came strutting back on the bus like a rooster. He comes strutting on like this, and I can clearly read his mind, like, does everybody here see what a tzaddik I am? And I remember thinking to myself, that doesn't make you a tzaddik. If you saw a little old lady on the street, what would you do, Shai? Would you kick her? If you saw a little old lady lying down the sidewalk, so you'd stop it. The only reason he was able to do it because he was driving the bus, so he could stop the bus and get off the bus. There wasn't anyone on that bus who wouldn't have done that. But everyone on the bus, driving a bus, would have hit buttons to let people off without torturing them. Those are the little things. The little things are and he did it because at least he was. I have sneaking admiration for his consistency. He was consistent, and they're Nahag, Nahag with a panic-stricken voice. Nahag.
Did he enjoy people screaming?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. I have no doubt that he did. The people didn't enjoy it. He enjoyed it. There's no question that he did. Right. So that's what the Torah. That's the first thing the Torah is talking about. The second thing there's this attitude, sometimes you hear people say, the most important thing is to be a good person. That's very common. The most important thing is to be a good person. We haven't defined what a good person is. But why do you have to pray to God? Why does God need your prayers? And why do you have to put on tefillin? The most important thing is to be good to people, which is a treif attitude, obviously, because then you're good to people as long as it's good for you, in most cases. And the Torah is telling you, listen, you may see these things as seemingly insignificant. Putting on tefillin and making brachas and keeping Shabbos and all these things, that attitude is an incorrect attitude. The correct attitude is that Hashem said to do it, and therefore we have to do it. Number one. Number two. Number three, the Mefarshim say that this is addressing learning. And when it comes to learning, it works like this. First of all, v'haya Eikev tishme'un. Tishme'un means you hear it. You got to learn it. That's the first thing. Ushmartem, you got to review it. In order to retain learning, you got to review it, and it takes a lot of review. And then va'asisem, then you will do it. That the Gemara, there was a debate. Nick, you're going to love this. There was a debate in the Beis Medrash. Which is more prominent? Which is more important? Learning or doing the mitzvahs? Learning Torah or doing the mitzvahs? And so most said doing the mitzvahs, because anyway, that's what we're learning for, is to do the mitzvahs. Ultimately, we're learning to do mitzvahs. We're learning because learning itself is a mitzvah. And then Rabbi Akiva said the learning is more important, because the learning brings you to doing the mitzvahs. How's that for Rabbi Akiva logic? What's the most important? The mitzvahs? Okay, good, so you better learn, because learning will get you to do the mitzvahs. And we see that the people who do the most learning are the people who do the most mitzvahs. That's the way, that's a fact. So the learning itself is a mitzvah. Just the learning itself is a mitzvah, and there are two reasons people don't understand. That's one of the most difficult things people have with Yiddishkeit. People looking in from the outside, they understand mitzvahs and they understand Shabbos, they understand tefillin, they're okay with it. What they don't understand is the idea of learning, studying Torah without any real goal of studying, of getting a degree, being a rabbi, you're getting smicha, but to just study subjects which you're probably not going to really encounter that often, whether the get was written lishma or not lishma is it's not going to come up that often. And yet, every time we study it, whatever we're studying, that itself is a mitzvah. And that people have a lot of trouble with, like, how long are you going to be in yeshiva for? How long do you plan on doing this for? Oh, open-ended. And what kind of degree are you going to get? You're going to be a Talmudist? A Talmudist, right? So they brought a group of Israeli soldiers, secular soldiers, they brought it once to Panovich. We used to do this Ohr Somayach. I brought guys to Mir, because to show them, what it looks like, and walk into Mir. When I took them to Mir, first I took them to the small base medrash. There were only 300 guys learning there. The guys, they're like, wow, and there's an energy. There's mamish a tangible energy. So the guys are like, wow. I said, okay, now let's go to the real base medrash. I took them down to the what do you call it, the Merkazi. There were only about 800 people learning there. And it has a tremendous effect. The guy like, whoa. So they took a group of secular Israeli soldiers once to Panovich for this, to shatter the stereotype, the secular stereotype. They think yeshivas are monasteries. We're just a bunch of depressed people with dark hallways and melty candles on the wall, just like that sort of thing. And just people walking around all day with hoods, like that's like something you'd see out of and so that's how they picture yeshivas. You take them into yeshiva, and it's like there's an energy. There's like guys are yelling, look like they're ready to go to come to blows. So they took this group of soldiers into Panovich. So one of the soldiers sees a little old man standing in the corner. He goes to him and says, "Can I ask you, how long have you been here?" So he smiles. He goes, "Oh, about 40 years." He goes, 40 years? I mean, do you still feel you're making progress? He says, Baruch Hashem, a little progress every day, Baruch Hashem. Right? It turned out it was Rav Shach Zatzal, who was the Rosh Yeshiva of Panovich. They had the soldier pick. That was his lucky day. He happened to pick on Rav Shach, who was a young man of about 95 at the time. So he picked Rav Shach of all the people, and Rav Shach said to him, a little progress every day. There's that's it. That's what they have trouble with. Okay, take a look at pasuk Yud Gimel, the next pasuk. Va'hevcha. Now, what will happen if we're obedient and we're faithful and we keep the mitzvah? Va'hevcha ve'irachecha. Hashem will love you. He'll bless you. Ve'rebecha. He'll increase you. Uveirach pri vitnecha friad masecha. He will increase the fruit of your stomach. In other words, children. Upriad masecha, and your produce, the gancha v'siroscha v'yitzarecha, your grain, your wine, and your oil. Shigar alafecha v'ashtrosenecha, all your cattle. Al ha'adama asher nishbala v'secha loseslach. Now, if you'll notice, it's something that the world at large has trouble with over here. What is the first list on the bracha over here? What's the first thing that the bracha is? Take a look at the pasuk very carefully. Hashem will bless you. He will increase you. He'll bless the fruit of your stomach and the fruit of your earth. What's the first thing on the list? Children. First thing on the list is children. After children comes parnasa. Much of the world sees it the other way. Can't have children until you know what your parnasa is going to be. You have to have an established parnasa. So the Gemara says when a male is born, a gold bar is born with him. Ba zachar ba kikar biyodo. When a male is born, a golden bar is born with him. I have 4 sons and never saw that golden bar. Which go? I mean, you go to a bar and drink a l'chaim. Just kidding. Where's the golden bar? The male is born, a golden bar is born with him. The answer is, he gave you a child. What do you think, he's going to make him starve? What do you give you a child for? Well, you'll make it. And not only that, as you progress in life, you become more established and you start making money, and things happen, and you don't worry about it. It'll be okay. I know that they think that there are people who think the world's population is too big. We haven't got enough resources to feed all the starving people in Biafra. It's not true. Do you know how many eggs alone? I'm just talking about eggs. Tnuva, the main middleman distributor of produce in Israel, do you know how many eggs they destroy in the course of a year that they throw into the Mediterranean? Why? Why do you think?
Probably make the prices go down.
Oh, to make the prices go down?
No,
if they weren't destroyed, the prices would go down. Of course, to keep the prices up. Somewhere, I think the number was either 30 million or 300 million. I think 30 million. 300 million is a lot. 30 million eggs that are dumped into the sea in the course of the year. There are 30 million people in Biafra who would like an egg, or in Indonesia, or China, or wherever it was that you spoke about yesterday, where your mother used to say to send the food. There's plenty of resources. So the Torah is telling you over here, the attitude is an incorrect attitude. The attitude is the same God that gave the children, the same God that gives Parnasa. And there are plenty of people who have 2 kids and they struggle for Parnasa. I know people with 16 kids and they've always had Parnasa. And I'm not talking about a guy who's, is a loaded millionaire guy. He's a Rabbi, he's a Rav, he's a teacher, he's something. They made it. Nobody starved to death. I have yet to meet anyone who's ever starved. Well, I mean, if you meet him, it's a little too late. It's like this guy says to his friend, I had a dog, and I was trying to train my dog not to eat. And I almost had him there, but after 3 days, the dog died, so I couldn't finish the training. I don't know anybody starved to death. So the Torah is telling you the attitude is, don't worry about it, don't make it chiddush. Some people say, till I get my degree, until I get my master's, till I get my doctorate, then we'll start having children. Let HaKadosh Baruch Hu take care of it. Let HaKadosh Baruch Hu take care of it, number one. Number two, I read an article in Time magazine years ago. They had an article, I grew up in the 70s. The hippies and feminism was becoming strong. There was no feminism before that. Women didn't even vote until, the 1920s, when women could first start voting. Then everything went downhill. Now they're judges. Women are judges. Every time I read an article about a judge, it's always a woman judge. Well, wow. They're a lot tougher than the men. They just keep putting guys in prison left, right, and center. Maybe that's good. So the what do you call it? The women. This was an article about women who grew up in themselves they caught feminism as young women, and they were taught and they were influenced by the society that you have to be a career woman and you have to strive to be just like men and so on and so forth. And the article was a group of women who are now in their early 40s. Never got married, never had children, and they're very bitter because they feel they've been duped by their society. That was the article. Like we can't even have children now, and who's going to want to marry us now? And what happened? Because they bought into this propaganda that a woman's role is to be just like a man. So the Torah says that's not your role, and it's not what it should be. And even men should. The attitude of men has to be: you get married and you have children. And Parnasa people struggle with 1 kid. People struggle with 8 kids. That's what the Gemara says. Bazocher bakikar biyado. It doesn't literally mean a gold bar. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu provides. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will provide. A girl is born. That's a different issue. Then you got to start saving up for the wedding. For the boy, there's more expenses: a bris, a bar mitzvah. But it all pales in comparison with the wedding, right? When you marry off your daughter, boy, that's when you get. That's when that's. That's when it gets serious. Okay, bris we can handle. Bar mitzvah, that's good, right? Wedding, whoa. I remember when my daughters every time even my sons get married. One of the expense there, sometimes you gotta pay for the wedding. You gotta buy them a home. All that stuff I can deal with. The one thing that drove me nuts every time, the day of the wedding, all the females in the house. There's a special lady called the makeup lady, and she comes to the house. Every single female, they can be 2 years old. They're going to get the makeup. They're all walking around the house with like this. They can't touch anything because they're all smeared with goop the whole day. And on the day of the wedding, I just get out of the house. I came to the yeshiva on the day of my kid's wedding. I come. The next day I don't, because you're up late from the wedding. You're up late. The day of the wedding, I come to the yeshiva. Because men, what do I need for the wedding? A new belt. That's it. And then you got to pay these makeup ladies. They take a lot of money. And every single female in the house, if there's a female dog, they're also going to get the makeup lady's going to get her too. Right? But every single female, and I told guys after I made my first wedding, I told guys, I have friends who also like, wow, it cost. I said, don't fight, just do it, because you're going to do it anyway. You're going to pay for it anyway, so just pay for it and smile, right? And then hide, then leave the country so all your creditors could go looking for you. Right, go to Argentina or something. Okay. Take a look at Pasuk Tezvav. Baruch tiyeh mikol ha'amim yudalid. You'll be blessed from all the nations. Lo yeh v'cha okar v'akor v'ivemtecha. You'll not have any what do you call it? Nobody will be barren. Just one second. Pasuk. where did I want to get to? Yeah. You're not going to have any, nobody will be barren among you. Now, the Chasam Sofer says like this, the barrenness, having children, people, until they find that, people, well, we'll wait. Then when they want children, they don't always have, they're not always able to have children. Then they get desperate. Barrenness is a result of mazel. A person is what do you call? A person has mazel. The Kosh Baruch Hu was born this person. The Gedolei Yisrael who did not have children. The Chazon Ish didn't have children. What do you call it? Their long list of Gedolei Yisrael did not have children. Avram Avinu didn't have children for many years. What changed? His mazel changed. Avram Avinu, the mazel could change. That's why the Gemara says, "Ein mazel li Yisrael." Jewish people do not have mazel. What does that mean? The Gemara in Shabbos. There's one opinion that we are bound, we do have mazel. There are 5 opinions in the Gemara that we don't have mazel. What does that mean, ein mazel Yisrael? What is mazel? Mazel, what they translate often as destiny, fate, destiny. What does it mean?
No?
What's that?
Good luck?
That's in Hebrew, they call it mazal. But it's more than luck. It's more, we don't believe in luck. Luck sounds like it's independent of God. Mazal is, they talk about a guy who's always messing up. They go, in modern Hebrew, they call him a bish mazal. A bish mazal, he's got bad luck. So my son told me he has a friend who all the other friends call him a bish mazal because he was speeding and he's the one who got caught. He got ticketed for speeding. He's a bish mazal. He's not a bish mazal. He's a criminal for speeding and he deserves a ticket. He's a bad mazel. But the guys who weren't speeding didn't get a ticket. That's not bad mazel. Mazel means destiny. There is, for a person who's born, he is predestined for certain things. The Gemara says everything is pre-decreed. Whether the person is going to be rich, he's going to be poor, he's going to be smart, he's going to be handsome. It's all pre-decreed except what? Fear. Except if you're going to be a tzaddik or a rasha. Everybody can make the choice of being a tzaddik, can make the rasha. Everything else is your life circumstances are predetermined based on your mazel. But the Gemara says, ein mazel li Yisrael. What does that mean, ein mazel li Yisrael? It doesn't mean we don't have mazel. It means our mazel is not binding on us. It means if all else is equal, this is how it's going to be. But the mazel could be changed through what? Davening, behaving properly, doing mitzvahs. Mazel could change. Lo yecha becha akar v'akaru v'ivemtecha, says the Chazam Sofer. A person, there will be Jews who are born with the mazel of being an akar, a mazel of being childless. They'll be barren. But lo yeh becha akar means that it could be changed. That mazel will be able to be changed. Uvivemtecha. Baruch tiyeh mikol ha'amim lo yeh becha akar v'akar. Then the Chasam Sofer has a twist on this. Not the Chasam, one of the other Mepharshim, he says like this. Why was Rivka Imenu barren? Rivka didn't have children. Why? Anybody know why was Rivka barren? Rivka and Yitzchak were barren. Why was Rivka barren for so many years? In other words, she was barren enough years. Eventually she had a child. So you'd say, well, if she had children, she had the twins, Yaakov and Esav, you'd say she wasn't barren. At a certain point, if you'd gone 10 years, that means you're officially barren. Then things changed. Why was she barren? Why was Rivka barren? Because when she left home, what did Lavan and his family say to her? Achosenu atei le'alfei revava. You should be blessed to be a multitude. In order that Lavan's bracha shouldn't come to fulfillment, because he gave her a bracha, and we don't want the goy's bracha to have an effect on her, so she had to become barren. And only after she had Yitzchak davened, then she already has children. So look how the pasuk reads now. Baruch tiyeh bikol hamim, you'll be blessed by the nations, and even so, lo yiyeh b'cha akar v'akar v'yivemtecha. Even if the nations bless you, it won't turn you into like happened to Rivka with Lavan. That's part of the bracha HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives. Baruch tiyeh bikol hamim, they'll give you a bracha. Even if they give you a bracha, we don't want their brachas, we don't want their cause, we don't want anything from them. But even if they give you a bracha, so then you're not going to suffer the fate that Rivka suffered and then had to go through and become an akara in order to make sure that Lavan's bracha isn't the bracha that comes to fruition. That's what the Chazam Sofer says. Okay, take a look at pasuk Tezvav. V'heisir Hashem imcha kol choli, Hashem will remove all illness from you. V'chol madvei Mitzrayim haroim asher liyadata, all of the plagues of Egypt. Lo yisimam bach, he will not put them on you. Unisanam b'chol sonecha, he'll put them on all your enemies. hopefully come true soon. All illnesses Hashem won't put on us, but He will place them on our enemies. Now, if you notice, the Torah uses a different form. By us, it says lo yesimam. It's used, yesimam is from sam, to put. And unisanam is a different form of a word. He will place them. It's like saying in English, put it here or place it here. What's the difference between putting something or placing something? I don't know if it's true. Now I'm thinking about it. It could be it is true even in English. What's the difference between putting something here and placing something here? What would you say is the difference between them? Putting something?
Location.
What's that?
Like fixing a location by placing it.
Oh, putting is less specific on the location. That's true. That's true. That's true. Could be in English. Could be that's the difference in English. I'd say putting it doesn't mean I'll put it there. I don't know how long it's going to stay there. Place it there means I want it to stay there. I want it to stay there permanently. Place it over here as opposed to put it over here. By the way, guys, when you get married, now take a piece of advice. The old hound is still wisest. Take a piece of advice, and you should pay me for this. Make out the check. Kaplan, Kaplan, with a K. When you get married and you move into your first home, your wife is going to ask you to move the couch to the other side and see how it looks on the other side of the room. You're probably going to say something clever like, well, it looks exactly the same as it does over there, but it would be over there. And guess what's going to happen next?
Move the couch.
You're going to move the couch, right? You're going to move the couch. And then you're going to move it to that, and guess what's going to happen next?
We're gonna have to move it back.
That's not, you're going to have to move it back. It's going to be prefaced with her saying, you know what, I think I do like it over there better. Just do it. Just do it. Don't even show a face. Don't even don't even roll your eyes. Nothing. Just. Oh, really? My pleasure. I would love to move a heavy couch that takes 4 people to move. I'd love to move it for you to the other side of the room. 'Cause I do anything for you, dear. Everything. Right? So you just move that couch. Then you're going to move it right back. And if you fight it, not going to work. And either way, your back's going to hurt. So just do it. Right? Just do it with a smile. The Chafetz Chaim, there's a document. The Chafetz Chaim got married a second time. His first wife was Nifter. He married a second time, was 65 years old. He got married a second time. The first sukkahs, he built the sukkah, and his wife said to him, you know what, I think we should put the sukkah over there. And without a word, the Chafetz Chaim went, and he built the sukkah over there. And then his wife said, you know what, I like it back in the first place, actually. And without a word, the Chafetz Chaim went and he put it back in the first place.
Knocked it down and
He didn't knock it down, he disassembled it. Yeah, even that. How do you like that? Yeah, even that. Yeah. You could try arguing. It's not going to help. You're going to do it. And then he moved it back, documented. He took it down, moved it over, then he moved it back to the first place. Yeah, how do you like that? So here, the Torah, that's placing and putting. The Torah says like this, when it comes to illnesses, lo yesimam bach, Hashem will not put them on us, even temporarily. Unisanam b'chol sanecha, but he'll put them permanently on all your enemies. That's the difference between yesimam and asanam. That the Mefarshim say, on us, not even temporary. And on the enemies, it'll be permanent. Okay. Now, take a look at Tez Zayin. You will consume all the nations. You will eat all the nations. Doesn't physically mean we eat them. We're not going to turn into cannibals. Anyway, we don't know the bracha on human beings. Maybe bori pri ha'adam, right? And lo sochos eincha alehem. Do not have compassion on them. V'lo savores Eloheim. Do not worship their gods. Kimo kechulach. Now, what has one thing got to do with the other over here? First, it says you will. How does the article translate vechalta? He doesn't. He can't say eat. How does he translate it? You will devour. You will, my favorite, aknani. I'll have a side dish of chivi and girgoshi and maybe a little sprinkling of amalek on top of it. Oh, my favorite. No. Devour. A new spice. The Zion, the 7 Nations spice, you know. No, that's not what it means. The chalta is kol ha'amim, you will devour the nations, which Hashem your God gives you. Don't have compassion on them, and don't serve their gods, for that's going to be a a pitfall for you. Mokeh shulach, it's going to be an obstacle. The idea here is we're told to go into Eretz Yisrael, and the nations have a choice, leave or get killed. Why? Because they are a negative influence. They were idol worshippers, the land of Canaan, whereas the land of Egypt was considered the foundation of immorality in the world. The land of Canaan was the foundation of idol worship. These were pagans who engaged in all of the most perverted rituals and disgusting behaviors, and they were idol worshipers. So the Torah says you can't have them around. You can't live in the land of Israel with that contamination lurking nearby. Therefore, the Torah says, get them out of here. Don't have compassion. If they don't want to go, kill them. And then it follows with, don't worship their gods. Why? Because if you don't kill them and you leave them around, that's what it's going to lead to. It's going to lead to worshiping their gods. Now, the problem that we run into is we live in a world of leftists and pacifists. Oh, it's so not nice to kill them. Oh, this is the lady who's had 4 abortions. Oh, it's so not nice. It's not. I think it's not right. Well, Hashem thinks it is, and that is why when it comes to misplaced compassion, what's going to end up happening? So we are considered by God is called. I think even the Torah calls him a vengeful God. And the nations, Christianity turned the other cheek. It's just a religion of sweet goodness. What's the acid test? Look at the followers. Look at the followers of the vengeful God. Jews always, a Jewish fight, a Jewish fist fight is talking about what I would have done if he would have said another word. Right? And by the others, they don't do much talking. Right? They talk with their fists. Oh yeah, let's take it outside. Oh yeah. And the first thing you know, the fist goes up. So which is the religion of compassion? Which is the religion of kindness? Number one. People ask all the time about being a vegetarian. Are you allowed to be a vegetarian according to Allah?
No.
Huh? What do you say, Arzil?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And the answer is, you are allowed to be a vegetarian. Depends why. If you're a vegetarian for health reasons, I don't feel good when I eat meat. Personally, I don't feel good when I don't eat meat. But I don't know what's a meat out. What is it? You could be either a vegetarian, or you only eat vegetables, or a guy who only a carnivorean. What's it called?
They're eating fish, I think.
No, but what's it called when you eat meat?
Carnivore, yeah.
A carnivore, yeah. I'm a carnivorean. There was a college quarterback. Who went off of red meat. He was he played college football. He went off of red meat. So they asked. He had a 300-pound offensive lineman, a big guy, Andre. And they said, the reporter said to him, Andre, are you also going to go off of red meat? He goes, no. He goes, why not? He goes, eating steak is part of what I'm all about. So you have now, if you're vegetarian because you don't enjoy meat, or you doesn't agree with it, you can be a vegetarian. On Shabbos, it's a problem, because Shabbos, you're supposed to eat some chicken or meat. But if you don't enjoy it, you don't have to on Shabbos. Yontif, you have to eat a kazayas of meat, because Yontif, it's a mitzvah to eat meat. What about if you're a vegetarian because you feel that it's wrong to kill animals? You could also, by the way, you could be a vegetarian if you're objecting to how the meat industry treats animals. I don't like the meat industry people, the way they treat, do you know what do you call it is when they take the calf, veal. Yeah, what do? They put it in a cage. They put it in a cage and they don't let it move around too much, and they feed it a lot so that it fattens up. An animal would prefer not to be in a cage. But if you're going to eat meat because you think it's wrong morally to eat meat, so that's a machlokas between you and Hashem. And we paskin like Hashem. Hashem says you can't eat meat. Under certain circumstances, you should eat meat, and you should slaughter animals for sacrifices if you think that it's wrong. And therefore, the Torah tells you Hashem will determine who should be killed and who should live, because he's the one who gave life. It's like in playing chess. The rules of chess, are you allowed to jump over pieces in chess? Oh, your knight could. Your knight's allowed to jump over pieces. Don't call it a horse. Right? Don't call it a horse. Nobody calls it a horse. Your knight is allowed to jump over. Why? But that's not fair. Yeah, well, because the one who designed the game said the knight could jump over pieces. When you play me, my rook jumps over pieces, right? It helps. It helps. It gives me an edge, right? Without the guy looking, especially. So your knight is a lot. Why? Because the guy who designed the game, he made the rules. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the people, and he said these people should live and these people should die. Don't be more compassionate than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what the Torah is teaching. Okay. Take a look at Perek Zayin Pasuk Chaf Aleph. This is a good one. Perek Zayin Pasuk Chaf Aleph. So he says, when you're going to go into the land of Israel, Pasuk Chaf, 6 lines from the bottom. You're going to go into the land of Israel. Hashem is going to destroy these enemies. He's going to fight these enemies who you're afraid of. And then in Pasuk Chaf it says like this: V'games hatzira yishlach Hashem Elokecha bam. The wasp. He's going to send wasps ahead. Aravot anishorim v'anistroim b'penecha. Even those guys who are hiding in caves and nooks, crannies, wherever they're hiding, because Baruch Hu is going to send in wasps, and the wasps are going to get them. What's going to happen to them? Take a look at a strange Rashi here. It says Rashi, where is it? Left column, 3rd line from the top. Hatzira. Says Rashi, min sheret sa'of. It's like a little flying creature. What we call a wasp, or what's the other thing? A hornet. Shahaisa zorekes bahemora. It would put some sort of poison into them, would sting them and inject a poison. Umisarson. It would castrate them, umisama es einehem, and would blind them. B'chol makom she'onistarim sham. I mean, that's pretty nasty. These are the guys who are hiding from the Jewish people. Then they get stung by this wasp. Next thing you know, they're castrated and they're blinded.
From who? Who's castrating them?
The wasp poison.
Oh.
I don't know, but that's what the Torah says. The wasp poison is going to blind them and it's going to castrate them. So the Mefarshim say, why? Why is that? And the answer is that these are all descendants of Ham. Ham was Noach's son. When Noach came out of the Teva, what did Ham do? He saw, the Torah says he saw Noach's nakedness. And then he went and told his brothers. So because he looked, so that's how you understand the blindness. And the Gemara says, what did he do to Noach? He didn't want Noach. There were 3 children who were going to divide the world, Shem, Cham, and Yefes. He didn't want his father to have a 4th child. So the Gemara says he rendered Noach incapable of having a 4th child. Therefore, his descendants get what he did, his eyes, and because he prevented his father from having a 4th child, therefore they're going to get it both in the eyes and in the ability to have children. Mida keneged mida. And what you learn from this is that what an ancestor does, I mean, you talk about Ham is a long time previous. And what the ancestor does is going to have an effect on the grandchildren, on the great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren. The obvious question is, yeah, but that's not fair. That's not fair. So sometimes in life you have a situation where the punishment is pending. Now, if you turn yourself good, it won't happen. But if all else is equal and you maintain the behavior of the ancestor, then there's going to be a payback. If all else is equal. Can a person avoid it? Yeah, if a person changes good, he's a person shows he's not deserving of that fate, so he won't get that fate. But if you maintain that behavior, so then what a person does, and this is an important lesson for us, because when we do mitzvahs, the mitzvahs that we do have an effect on our children, an effect on our grandchildren, an effect on everything else. The person has to know that we're playing for future doros. We're not just playing for what's happening right now. More than that, where the Torah says in Pasuk Chaf Aleph, this is the one I really wanted to get to. They took a little while. Lo sarotz mipnehem. Don't be afraid of them. How does the article translate it? You shall not be broken before them. Ki Hashem Elokecha b'kirbecha kel gadol v'nora. Don't be afraid of these nations because Hashem is in your midst. Now, what does the plain meaning sound like here? What is the plain meaning of the pasuk? Don't be afraid of them because Hashem is in your midst. Meaning what? What's the plain meaning? What does the plain meaning sound like? Hashem will protect you. You got nothing to worry about. He's on your side. You don't have to worry. You're not going to lose. Barcelona is going to play anybody in the world. They're not going to lose because Messi's on their side. You got nothing to worry about. Messi's with them. So you got nothing to worry about. Not anymore. But then, right? Yeah, we got the best one. The Bulls with Jordan. It'll work out. One way or another, it's going to work out. So unfortunately, say, let me ask you a question. When you go to the dentist, nobody should have to go except our enemies. But when a person goes to the dentist, and he pulls out the, what do you call it, to give you the shot of the Novocaine, what's your reaction?
Ouch.
Ouch? And a guy's facing a root canal. I'll tell you the truth, when he pulls out I'm not even thinking about the shot. Go ahead, put in the shot. What do I care? That little pinch from the shot, because there's a bigger treat coming, right? Which is a root canal. When there are big issues, right? When there are big issues, so a person, could you imagine people in a bomb shelter? People run into a bomb shelter. Which also shouldn't happen and there's a bee buzzing around in the bomb shelter. How much are you thinking about that bee? Not too much. You got bigger issues. Bombs are exploding all over. Nobody's thinking about the bee. And there's under normal circumstances when a bee gets into a room, so the whole shear is broken up. Everybody, all of a sudden, all the wimps are right. Ooh, a bee! Ooh, a bee! Right? When you're in a bomb shelter, nobody pays attention to a bee. What's Hashem saying over here? Coach Baruch Hu is saying, when you go into the land of Israel, don't be afraid of the enemies, because I'm in your midst. Meaning what? You fear God. If you fear God, you're not even thinking about it. The enemies are insignificant compared to how much we have to fear God. I'm in your midst. You got nothing to worry about. Them you're worried about. Me you're not worried about. You got nothing. It's like the injection. It's like the Novocaine when you're facing a root canal. They once asked the Brisker Rav. The Briskers have a reputation of being, for lack of a better term, we'll call it nervous about halacha. Right? That's how the Briskers, they're the Brisker chumras, and they're very tense about it, which is exaggerated. So somebody once came to the Brisker Rav and he said to the Brisker Rav, "Why are you so nervous?" Never a good idea to start up with the Brisker Rav. No one ever. Why are you so nervous about halacha? You're so nervous. So the Brisker Rav said to the guy, "Can I ask you a question? When you sleep at night, are you nervous that you're going to fall out of bed?" He said, "No." He said, "You never wake up in the middle of the night to check maybe you're by the edge of the bed or anything?" He said, "No, I sleep like a log." So Brisker Rav said to him, "Okay, you're sure? No concern." He says, "I sleep. I'm dead to the world." He said, "Great. I would like to take your bed and put it on the edge of a 10-story building. You don't mind, do you? You'll sleep in the bed on the edge of a 10-story building?" The guy goes, "No." He goes, "Why not? You're not nervous. You told me you're not nervous." He goes, "Yeah, well, I mean, in the unlikely event, like they say on the airplanes, in the unlikely event of a water landing, in the unlikely event, extremely unlikely, but the unlikely event that I fall out of bed, it could be really bad from a 10-story building." So Brisker said, "I'm not nervous. I know I'm not going to mess up in halacha. I know I'm not going to do something wrong. But in the unlikely event that I do, the consequences and the repercussions are so great, that's what makes me nervous, in the unlikely event." Because that's how much we're supposed to fear God. You're worried about the goy, you're worried about a bunch of guys over there hiding in caves with wasps chasing them. That's what you're scared of? You got to have a little Yirah Shamayim. That's what you should be afraid of. That's what Brisker said to him. And it's very, very true. In the unlikely event of a water landing. Why are they talking about that? You ever hear of a water landing? I've only heard of one water landing that I know of. What do you call it? The guy in New York, in the Hudson River. That's the only water. So why are you talking about it? Nobody ever says when you get on a train, in the unlikely event of derailment. Yeah, in the unlikely event that we go off a bridge. And they don't. Why are they talking about it if it's so unlikely? Okay, that's whatever the case. That's how much we're supposed to fear Hashem. All right, we'll stop.